Howdy folks, happy Easter to everybody. I hope you had a good Lent, and here you are looking at a dish that I have been waiting all Lent to cook. It's a special Italian Easter dish, and you might wonder, based on the looks of it, you might think, well, isn't that just an ordinary pepperoni pizza? And the answer is no, it's not. It is a dish that is sometimes called pizza, because that's, the Italian word for pie or something like that. In various parts of Italy, it's called things like pizza piani, or, pizza Piena. I always make that mistake. It's also called pizza rustica, or pizza Chiena, or just Italian Easter pie. And so it goes by various names. There are a bunch of variations on it. It's made different ways. But this is a variation on the way I was taught to make it, and so as a special Easter present, I'm going to show you how to make it too. Now, one of the things that differentiates this from an ordinary pizza is it does in fact have a crust. That's something I'll try to give you a view here. You see, I've made it in a pie crust, and because this is a low-carb version, I had to do that a kind of special way. It's actually quite easy. What you do is you take a pie plate. This is a 9-inch pie plate. And it would work with an 8-inch one, but this is what I use. And you melt 3 tablespoons. You can just do this in the microwave. You melt 3 tablespoons of lard in the pie plate. Or if you don't have lard, and you should because it's really healthy for you actually, despite what you've heard, you could use butter. If you don't have butter, then you could use something really unhealthy for you, like margarine or Crisco or vegetable shortening or anything like that. It probably won't kill you, not in a single serving anyway, so you can go ahead and have this for Easter. But anyway, you melt the 3 tablespoons of lard or butter or what have you in the pie plate, and then you add to that 1.5 cups of almond meal. Almond meal is low carb. A cup and a half of it is going to have about 18 grams of carb, and so if you figure you're going to cut this up into, say, 8 pieces, then there's going to be just a little bit more than 2 grams of carb per serving from the crust. So that's not bad at all. It also has an equal amount of fiber, so you're also going to get 2 grams of fiber in addition to the 2 grams of carb. What you do is you just pour the almond flour over the melted lard or butter, and also, because of how I learned to do this, you also add pepper to the crust as well. You don't have to, but I was taught to add pepper to it, so I added about a tablespoon or two, a teaspoon or two of pepper. I just shook some coarse ground black pepper on it, and then you kind of stir it around with a spoon, and then you use your fingers to press it out and make the actual pie crust. And as you press it, it'll creep up the walls. You can press it up on the walls of the pie plate, and then you've got a nice crust, and you're ready to start filling it. So what do you fill this dish with? Well, hang on just a second. I'll cut a piece and show you. Okay. Okay, so I've just cut us a piece of the pizza Piena, and as you can see, it has an interesting inside. It's not the same as you would find on a normal pizza. It does have the pie crust right there that we made out of almond flour. And then what you do, once you have your pie crust, you don't have to cook it or anything, but what you do is you add a layer of mozzarella cheese, just shredded mozzarella cheese over the whole base, and then a layer of pepperoni. And then you add a layer of, and you can see there's a layer that's a mixture of white and yellow. See right there? What that layer is egg. And so you take some hard-boiled eggs and cut them in an egg slicer. To make this pizza Piena, I used about 8 eggs, and 8 hard-boiled eggs, and I used about one of those little bags of pepperoni. I used turkey pepperoni, because it has less fat. Not that I'm afraid of fat, but what it does is, because it doesn't have so much fat, it doesn't shrink up when you cook it. If you use regular pepperoni, and this is true of any dish you use pepperoni in, it can shrink and discharge a lot of its fat all over everything, and it's not as appetizing. So I kind of like this, but you can use whatever kind of pepperoni you want. You can also use other things like Italian salami and whatever, sausage, things like that. But anyway, what I did was I started with a layer of mozzarella on the theory that it would melt and help hold the crust together a little more than otherwise. Then I put the layer of pepperoni and then a layer of sliced egg, and then I started over. I put another layer of mozzarella, another layer of pepperoni, another layer of sliced egg. Then I topped it with more mozzarella and just added one last layer of pepperoni and a few sprinkles of mozzarella for a nice surface presentation. So it's basically layered heaven, or at least layered very goodness. And it tastes absolutely delicious. It's something that you can make very easily once you've got the boiled eggs and the other ingredients. It just takes a little bit to put it together, and then you put it in the oven at 350 degrees for about half an hour. And when the half hour is up, it should be done, but you need to let it set for a while, because otherwise, with all the cheese, it would be goop. You know, and if you want to eat goop, you can, but traditionally you let it sit and it'll re-solidify. Once it gets cool enough, you can even put it in the fridge to speed up the cooling process. And it's a traditional dish that is made at Easter time. It's absolutely delicious. I hope you'll try it during the Easter season, which we're now in. In any event, that's the basic dish. I hope you enjoy it. Bon appetit.